get in the game. So for those who are watching, whether it's local, national, or whether it's global, believe it or not, we have troops that watch from Afghanistan or Iraq. They stay up 2 a.m. in the morning over there. You do a little better than that. Come on, man. That's a shot like this in Alabama or Auburn. Well, man, for those of you who it's your first time or you might be watching somehow, we'd like to make it clear the basement. We just say this all the time so that you understand. People like my dad used to say he'd come to church and he didn't feel like he belonged because he thought everybody was perfect, man. He thought everybody had it together. Well, here, we're not perfect. We're just. They said we're just. And tonight we want to kind of just hang out and talk about a couple little things real quick. How many of y'all have ever even tried a sport of any kind? Anybody ever just tried something like skateboarding? Anybody done some BMX riding? All right, a couple crazies in the house. Anybody play football before? Football, basketball? Baseball fans? Well, how many of y'all remember back in the day, come on, let me see something, get up in my face, I gotta look some photos. How many of y'all remember back in the day, anybody have to sell raffle tickets? Did anybody know what raffle tickets are? That's for our generation, poor folk, yeah, that's you raised from the hand, me and you. Man, my parents were so, I'm not trying to embarrass them, but I'm going to embarrass them. Here it is. We were so broke, man, I did not know that the other kids didn't have to sell raffle tickets to play sports. So my mom and my dad would take me down and he'd say, son, if you're going to play something, you have to sell these raffle tickets. That's the only way you can play. And I would be like, well, man, my friend over there, his dad just wrote a check to play, I don't understand why I have to do that. He would make me go down, and we were very poor, man. We just were poor. And so I would sit out in front of this food world, they called it, Food Giant. And man, I'd stand there I would just wait on somebody to walk in. I didn't care who you were. And I'd wait with my raffle tickets, and I'd be like, hey, yes ma'am. And I'd be like, hey, real quick. And I was a little bitty fella, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to play baseball this year. And I would go into telling them how valuable I was. I was like, our team won't make it to the World Series, or no, they won't make it without me. I believe myself. I believed I was really good. I don't know. And then, the worst feeling in the world is when somebody looks at you, or they ignore you, and you're like, little man, it stuns your heart. Think about 100 times you got to try, and people are like, and they walk off they think I'm a gimmick or something. So I remember growing up, every time I'd have to do this raffle ticket, and finally I guess I was wanting to be valuable. I tried all my life. That's why I was God's clown. I was always in trouble. But this one team, man, as things got better for me, I could scoop up the ball and just kind of whip it over to third. No, it wasn't like that. It was kind of more when I'd hit somebody in the crowd. But as things got better, I got an All-Stars, man. I was like, y'all ever heard of All-Stars? I was like, man, I come home, man, I got All-Stars. My mom was like, don't get too excited. Because she was like, God's plan's better than All-Stars. She's always trying to help me understand. I was like, I got All-Stars. And so I go out and in All-Stars, they might have somebody better than you. Unfortunately, somebody might be better. And I thought I was a really good shortstop. I thought, matter of fact, I can't believe I'm in the pros. I tell everybody all the time, any of y'all got a friend that when you watch TV with him, he's always like, I could have been in the pros. I could have played college. Does anybody do that? Yeah, that's me right there. And there was this one dude, man, he was just a lot better, and I was on this team, and I remember at the very end of it, I was kind of watching him, and I was like, man, I don't know if he's going to be the starter this year. I was 11 years old, and I was kind of a little buck. I was a little stallion, I just wanted to get mine. The coach rallied everybody, man. Some guy's moto, man. These coaches are crazy these days. I was 11 years old. He was like, if anybody want to be here, and if you want to give me what it takes, if you want to be here, you just let us know. He's just going crazy. And my ADD mind was thinking, did he just say somebody want to be here? Because I was seeing the pool, I was seeing girls, I was seeing all the funner things in life. And as soon as he said, anybody want to be here, let us know, I said, and I lifted my hand, he said, you got something to add in this pit? He thought, because I talk all the time, he thought I was going to add something to his little speech. And he said, you got something to say? I said, yeah, did you say that anybody not want to be here? And that day, he just shredded into me, man. He just said, there you go. And I left, and it was like I left my friends, I left my peoples, and I was like, I'm not going to be cool anymore. I just left everything. And I'm just here to say that sometimes if you do have to leave some things for God's best, for game time. Not everything's like you think. And that day I found out, I wasn't an all-star, but God had had a bigger plan. My mom would say, it don't matter, baby. God's plan is bigger than that. It says, for I know the plans I have for you, declare the law. I would declare, what does declares mean? You know, break that down. And she would say, I'm serious, he got big plans. And you know, she was right. You know, I'm not an all-star today. I'm not playing baseball for a living. And I'm actually, God has a plan that if you just do whatever he asks, and if you have a relationship, he's got a bigger plan than that. And here's what's crazy tonight. I'm going to ask MVP, somebody way better than me, to come out and share at this moment, because they would probably understand what's like most valuable player.
I knew it.
Now, as he said, I knew it. I'm going to trick him. You ready for this? Now, there's no way I can just pick Alabama or Auburn, because we've had a lot of most valuable players. I have a dear friend here that was an MVP, and here's the crazy thing tonight. I just kind of want to flip this for a second. The Bible says in Romans, and it's so clear about this, man, and like, sometimes it's hard, like, you want to honor a cat, this MVP for athlete, you know, he's a great athlete, but we don't honor some of the guys who've given up everything for God. And you know what I'm going to do tonight, man, just because we can? We've got a lot of friends, y'all know that, and whether it's pros or college, but you know what, tonight, I want to honor some people who have, I think, given up everything for God. Matter of fact, I think are some of the most valuable people on the planet Earth, because you know what? God don't look at value how we look at value. He don't live, that's just not his way of doing it. He looks at hearts, man. He loves when you give him his, and you love people. God loves people is the plan. And so here tonight, I got one of like my heroes, man. And this guy, I'm gonna tell you before he even comes, being down in T-Town, here's what's crazy about it. When I was there, it was another two-part school in America. This guy comes in one of these services, just an ordinary dude. That's why I love it. Ordinary guys, man. Ordinary girls. You're valuable. You have no idea. And he gets rocked, I guess, in one of the messages, and he just says, you know what, I'm going to go back to my school, and I'm going to be unashamed. And I get so mad that sometimes I'll give it up more than I had to tell a 2007 NFL MVP tonight that I want you just to chill and let me honor some heroes I think, that are very valuable in heaven. So you know what? It's the fastest growing college movement in America. Would you honor my dear friend Zig that's doing it from unashamed? A football. This is what we want to give to the basement. Would you get up for this man that's giving up everything? He's got to be speaking to the team of everybody. See the overflow room down there. Look at this. See? People on it. I got down there, Zig, as you go on. In 2000, I got down to the first service. Now, I parked on the grass, and I had to watch you from the overflow room and a television screen. Before I get back into this, I just want a real MVP to tell you a little something about God. Get on, Zig, get on.
Well, man, y'all can be seated real quick. Matt asked me to come up here tonight, man, and since he's talking about MVPs and he's talking about game time, since we're in that kind of mode tonight, man, I figured I'd just kind of bring a little bit of flavor kind of where I come from. And to be honest with you, man, I know, like, look at me right now, I'm like 5'10", I weigh like 125 pounds, I can't punch nobody, I'm just a little shrimp, I know that. And I used to be a player back in the day. I'll be honest with you. I used to be kind of like a football player back in high school. I used to do my thing. I used to play basketball, and I used to sit on the bench. And tonight, I just kind of want to bring some players out here tonight just to kind of illustrate it for me. But I used to be like one of these guys. I went to Hewitt-Trussville High School, and I thought I was the man, and I really wasn't. And I'm going to prove it to you like this. You see these football players that are walking out here right now, they're awesome men, and they come from UAB, and they're big, and they're bold, and they knock me out. But here's the thing, when I was in high school, man, and I used to dress out like these guys, I can remember, man, I walked on the football field one day, and I was in practice. It wasn't even a game yet, and I walked on the field, and we used to do this thing called 2-minute drill and prepare us for the end of games if the game was real close. And there was this guy on my team, he's a little bit bigger than me, and he had a little bit more inside of him than I did. His name was Bird. He's right there. There's a man right there. And I remember I used to Bird. You remember this story, don't you, y'all? I walked out on the field, y'all, and Bird was on defense, and I was on offense. And so I was walking on the field. Coach gives me a route to run. It's a 2-minute drill, so everything's going real fast. And I remember walking out on the field, and I ran this route in the middle of the linebackers. You know, linebackers, they look like these dudes right here. I mean, look at them. I'm like, ugh, you know? And I catch this ball in the middle of the field, and I could have known for a fact I was going to get knocked out just then and there. So I catch the ball. It was crazy. So throw it to me, and I run in the middle of the field. Next thing you know, my little speedy butt breaks through the middle of the field. And I was like, yeah, dog, get some. And I knew I was going to score. And I was running. And before I knew it, one of my best friends second. Like, I was supposed to score, and all of a sudden I hear boom, 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 boom coming behind me. It's like one of these big dudes right here. And I'm running down the field, y'all, and all of a sudden I look behind me one time, like this, and I'm running. And it's getting closer. And man, I knew I was just going to score, and for some reason, I forgot that there was another side of the field way over here. Some of y'all know where I'm going tonight, man. I was running, I was looking like this, and all of a sudden, I fumbled the ball, I fell on the ground. Next thing I knew, man, I woke up, I was looking, I had grass in my teeth, I had dirt in my eyes. I was like, man, where am I? I was swerving, speeding, it was just crazy. Man, I get back up, and I'm in the training room. Somebody walks up to me and said, man, Bird knocked you out today, didn't he? I was like, dang, dude, man, we used to party together and stuff. Like, what's the deal, man? You don't knock me out like that. And I started thinking about that story because, to be honest with you, like, Matt was talking about MVPs. But sometimes, I mean, let's just be real, Basement. I mean, I'll take off the mask tonight, and I could just admit, like, sometimes in life, even like when you try to live for God, I thought it was easy. Like, when I was in the world and I used to see people live for God, I used to think it was real easy if you did that. But I never knew, like, even when you try to live for God, sometimes you get blacked out. And you get knocked out in life a whole lot of times. And I started thinking about that, man, and I'll just be honest with you, but no matter how many times you might get knocked out, no matter how many times you might get knocked down, no matter how many times you find yourself getting off the ground and you're picking grass out of your teeth and you got dirt on your face and you don't understand where you are and you're confused and there's pain and there's trouble. And I'm just being honest with you. I know you're there tonight because I've been there. But no matter how many times you might be there, even if you're there tonight, I can promise you this. As God sees you, and I'm not talking about the neighbor to your right, I'm not talking about the person behind you. He sees you as his MVP. Matter of fact, you know what? Since we're talking about sports, I'm just going to flip it tonight. I hope Pitt's okay with this. I'm going to call it, instead of MVP like most valuable player, I'm going to say it like this. God sees you as his MVP, his most valuable person. Matter of fact, let me just prove it to you. Well, you don't understand. See, what I brought in here tonight, you don't understand like how the stuff I got going on, man. I've been knocked out a long time. You mean he sees me as an MVP? Yes. This is how I can prove it. Psalms 139 says he thinks about you. There's more thoughts he has about you, and it outnumbers the grains of sand that there are on the seashore. Matter of fact, the Bible also says, Ephesians 2:10 says it like this, that God calls you his treasured possession. And so no matter how many times you might have fallen down, blacked out, he still sees you as his MVP. But I'll just be honest, man, like tonight, if you're going to be an MVP, it takes a couple of things, man, to be the best. I know, man, when I first gave my life to God here at the Basement, I was like, man, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be a Heisman at it. No matter what I do, I'm going to throw off everything. And I'm going to be the best that God has called me to be. But there's just a few things, I'll just be honest with you. To be an MVP or to be the best that God sees you as, there's a couple of things, man, that you got to do. Number one, it's just like a game if they were in the huddle. Number one, it's going to take strategy. What do you mean strategy? Well, I do know this. As God for